Welcome back, everybody, to A Playmaker's View, and Happy New Year to you. My name is Jamie Burdish, the host of this show. Today's episode is going to be dedicated to what makes sports so special. I wanted to take a chance to sit down and reflect on my experience as an athlete, as a fan of sports. There's a lot of great things that come with sports, and I want to hear your thoughts as well, so please feel free to comment below your experiences, the growth and development, the fun memories that you share with friends and family. But that's what this episode's going to be all about. So I hope you guys get a chance to learn about myself. I've been doing this for about 2 years, actually over 2 years, started in December of 2019, and now that we're in 2022, I've had a lot of great experiences with this podcast, learned from a lot of great athletes, coaches, and fans of the game. So without further ado, let's get this thing started. Alrighty, guys. So like I said, we're going to be talking a little bit about what makes sports so special. For me, there's a lot of great things that I'd like to dive into. I want to take some time to reflect. Like I said, it's been over 2 years that I've been doing this podcast, usually talking with other people, and I don't get a chance to really sit down and reflect on myself. And now that I am a quote-unquote retired athlete, it's kind of nice to share my thoughts, my experiences with you all. So first off, my journey started at a very young age. I grew up in a family that loves sports, sports fanatics. I grew up watching the Cardinals, the Blues, the Rams for a portion of my life. Unfortunately, that is no longer happening just because they moved to LA. But at the age of 5, I started playing t-ball. I was in rec league basketball. I played soccer, so many different sports, trying to do different things to find what I loved most. And of course, as most of you all know, baseball has always been my passion. But like I said, had a lot of experiences in different rec leagues growing up, and had some good, bad experiences, especially with coaches and teammates. I'm very thankful for the teammates and the coaches that I've had that, one, helped me kind of develop, become confident in myself, my ability to become not only a better person on the field, but off the field. So shout out to all those people who have been there for my journey since day one. And also a big thanks to my parents who drove me to all the games, the practices, spent all this money to help me, provide me equipment and different lessons. Just overall very thankful for having them and that experience. One of the greatest things about sports is the lifelong friends that you can make. And I know that's really cliche, but it is true. I've had an opportunity to travel with a lot of different teams and make strong relationships with the people that I've been playing with, not just baseball, but basketball as well. For instance, the Matzo Ballers, a group of high school friends of mine, played a rec league basketball, in a rec league basketball league, and one of the best times of my life, being able to play a sport with those guys, compete for a championship, and just have fun. A great way to connect and a great way to look back at memories. Still to this day, it's been 4 or 5 years since we've been on the court together, but we always talk about the experiences that we've had. So that is one thing that I would like to note in this episode is that for the young athletes out there, it's really important to understand that the people that you're playing with are going to be friends forever. So it's important to respect them, to be friends with them, and make sure that they understand you so that you can understand them and you can connect in the future and make those lifelong friends, because it really means a lot. It means a lot to me. I mean, a lot of people have different experiences, but that is one thing looking back in my career is something that I'm very thankful for. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be some bad experiences. You're going to have teammates that you do not like. Some people that you might be friends with off the field, but you don't connect well with on the field, but that's okay. And that's what, again, sports is all about, is finding a way to adapt to all different kinds of situations. But again, it is so important to me to understand the message that comes with having teammates and the strong connections that you can make. Because again, and I think personally too, those communication skills that you gain working with a team, for me, have helped me in my career later on in life, being able to work on group projects in school. And I'm hoping that it's going to help me as well in my work life and in the career that I pursue. But again, very important, something to take note of, but I did want to touch on that before moving on. Another thing I wanted to discuss in this episode is kind of my journey and how I developed myself personally and had kind of matured in a way throughout my years of playing sports. And the thing is about that, I think I mentioned this earlier, that I had an opportunity to play all different kinds of sports. And for me, that was important because I found what worked best. But also, each sport can teach you different lessons, which is another thing to note as well. But I've always had a strong kind of drive. I'm not really sure where exactly that comes from. Could be from my parents. They always pushed me really hard to be the best that I could at whatever it is that I'm doing. And also, we're very supportive. I think it's really important to have people on your side supporting you. But that was really important for me. But I did want to mention when I look back at one of the greatest moments of my career was my junior year of high school. I have always been kind of a scrawny kid and kind of a smaller, didn't throw the ball the hardest, didn't have the biggest build. But my junior year, the summer before my junior year, I actually gained 20 pounds, mostly of good weight. You know, increased my fastball speed, and but more than that, I understood the game a little bit better and what was asked of me. I understood that I might not be a guy that's going to throw 90 miles an hour, but I can kind of control where I'm throwing it. And that was actually a year that our team, Parkway North team, won districts and made a run for state, which is definitely one of the proudest moments I've ever had as an athlete. But again, just learning so many different things from those around me, the coaches, Coach Reeder, Coach Button, very big thanks to them for allowing me to understand that it's more than just throwing the ball hard and doing these different things, the skills. It's also a mental game. That's something that I've learned throughout my experience is that sports are a big mental game, and why it's also very important to be mentally stable and having an understanding of, having that confidence you can do things if you put your mind to it. And that's why I wanted to address that, because that was a summer. In that summer, I sat down and told myself, in order to be successful, and in order to be where I wanted to be, I had to work hard and grind, and that's what I did. I gave up a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it was hard. It really was. I had some times when I wanted to quit, but I made it through it and was very successful. Like I said, we had a great run, and I'm very proud of that, and something that I love to share with you guys because hopefully I can impact someone to kind of motivate them with that experience. In the following year, I actually had even more success. I was 7-1 and had a .74 ERA, but that was just because of the continued success. I figured out what worked well for me, and having success as a team as well. That group of guys, going back to the leadership of lifelong friends, I would say I hang out with probably 75% of those guys still. And that just means a lot to me because those experiences that we had, the success that we had, meant a lot to us. And that's not to say even if people aren't successful as a team, doesn't mean that you can't build those friendships and have a sense of accomplishment. Because if you're working hard every day, if you're trying your best, that is something to be proud of. So don't be shy. Don't think that you aren't successful if you guys don't win 100 games or aren't above 500. Because if you're putting in the work, that's all that really matters at the end of the day. You should really be proud of that. Now, before I move on to my future and outside of the game, now that I'm retired, I wanted to look back at 3 different memories that are, I think, some of my favorite moments in my career as an athlete. One being when I pitched at Busch Stadium. For starters, pitching at Busch Stadium is one thing. I got a chance to play there twice, and that was, I don't even know how to explain it, just breathtaking to be able to play. And I know, there's not 40,000 fans like the Cardinals get, but to get that experience meant a lot to me. And to be able to pitch on that field, I threw 8 innings, 1 or 2 runs. I think, it was 1 earned run. It was 3-2 at the end. We played our rival Parkway Central. Having all my family and friends there, such an awesome experience, and one that I'll tell my kids in the future. And one, again, though, I can talk to my teammates about because that was definitely one of my favorite moments in my whole career, and very thankful for that opportunity. Another great sports moment that I've had is having the ability to pitch to my brother. My freshman year, I was actually on JV with my brother. He was also on varsity, but he came down. I think Coach Reeder may have set that up, but I got a chance to throw at Webster to my brother. Can't remember exactly how the outcome of the game, but again, family was there, got to throw to my brother. I mean, that's something that him and I grew up dreaming about. If you have a brother or a sibling and you're fortunate enough to play a sport with them, it just means a lot. It meant a lot to me, at least, and something that him and I cherish for sure because we had that sort of connection. I, again, don't know the exact result, but that was a big sports moment for me because it showed me that sports are more than sports. Growing up, having that dream, sharing that with him, working out every day, working hard with him. And it paid off. It showed that it paid off because we were in that moment together, and to be able to share that with him was awesome. The final favorite sports moment that I have, and probably one of the biggest, is winning districts. Unfortunately, our run for state came up short, but I never in my life thought I would be dogpiled, but I had the opportunity to do so. I still remember it. We were playing at DeSmet. Don't remember the exact score. I think it was 7-6, 7-5. But I threw out the last pitch, threw out the final out. Bases loaded. It might have been second and third, actually. Cameron Paul was my shortstop. So if you're listening, Cameron, I don't know if you remember this, but I look back at it almost every day. But I was pitching. We were up by 1 or 2 runs. Threw a ball. I think it was a changeup inside, if I remember correctly. Guy bolts it right to you. You catch it, step on the base, and we win districts. And in that moment, I remember looking back at Cameron, and then within a split second, I was at the bottom of the dog pile. It was an awesome moment, something, again, that I'm going to share with my kids. Just shows you how amazing sports can be. And for me, that was something that I experienced. There's a lot of opportunities. I kind of want to talk about this too, but when you watch things too, you share your memories with friends. You're at a game, oh, we saw the Cardinals win the World Series, or we saw the Blues win the Stanley Cup. But when you're in that moment, it's so much more special to me. And I was fortunate enough to do that. So very thankful for that whole team, that experience, the run that we made some history over at Parkway North. So wanted to mention that story as well. And hopefully you all as young athletes get a chance to do that. But just such an amazing experience. Now, when I look at the outside experience, I talked about when you witness a World Series win or a Stanley Cup playoff run, that means a lot too. When you have those experiences, that provides opportunities for a lot of memories. If you're there, I always remember growing up, I was always looking forward to the summer, not only because I could play baseball, but because I could go to the Cardinals game with some friends, my brother. I'd go there with my mom and dad. Just the impact that going to sporting events has is tremendous. And I hope that a lot of people have had that experience. Unfortunately, right now with COVID, things are a little different. But hopefully down the road, things will get back to what we knew as normal. Of course, it's going to be a new normal, but it's just such an awesome experience to be able to go to the ballpark, see that role model of yours, Yadier Molina for me, or Adam Wainwright, maybe even Marcus Stroman someday. Unfortunately, he signed with the Cubs, but I'll get to see him. I'll get to see that guy that I've watched on the TV that inspired me. And I know out there's a lot of people that you all, if you're watching this, you have someone that you inspire to be, or someone that you grew up watching, and being able to go sit in the stands or even from the seats of your couch, being able to watch that means a lot. So that's really important too. Sports mean a lot from the other perspective. Sports build relationships again. From some people, if you're out eating food and you're watching a game and someone scores a goal, you're all cheering together, you're bringing the community together, which is something I noticed too when the Blues made their Stanley Cup run. I went with some friends to the march, and seeing the sea of blue, all those people there coming together, no one was fighting, no one was bickering. That's the beauty of sports. There's so much joy and happiness in sports. I also think about David Freese's home run, or any of those moments that are just so special. I can still remember I was at a Halloween party when the Cardinals won the World Series in that year, 2011, and I was with my friends watching it. Those are the things that sports can do. Make sure you can make memories, and that's extremely important. So if you're not an athlete out there, that's okay. There's other avenues of sports that can bring a lot of joy and passion and happiness in your life. And that's what I'm also very thankful for too, because even though I'm not on the field or on the court, I still have an opportunity to enjoy sports, to have conversations with the person next to me. Say I'm getting coffee and you see someone wearing a Cardinal shirt, say, hey, did you see the game last night? That's just kind of another reason why I feel sports are so special. They bring people together, bring so much joy. So take note of that, and also embrace it too. A lot of people I know, being in St. Louis, I'm thankful to have a great fan base, but my passion for sports, I want to share that with other people. That's kind of why I have this podcast, of course, but also just on the daily basis, I can have conversations with people, spread that joy and happiness. So the last thing I want to kind of talk about is my future as far as sports go. Of course, I'm going to have sports in my life for as long as I live. When I have kids, hopefully they'll be playing sports, no matter what sport it is. I hope that they're active and doing things that make them happy, because I had a great experience with sports. But other than that, I'm going to have an opportunity to coach at Liberty High School. Thank you to Coach Reeder for giving me that opportunity. So I'm excited to get that started. I'm excited to share my passion, what I've learned through my experiences, and be a role model for those kids. I had those role models growing up, and I think it's important for me. One thing that I want to do in my life is be a role model for people, and make a change, make a difference. Even if it is just one of those kids on the team, that'll make me feel good. And not to mention, this is a new year, 2022. I'm doing this sports podcast for a reason, and if I impact one person throughout the whole year, it'll be successful. Hope that one person is you. Hope there's many people that I impact, but I did just want to take this episode, sit down, reflect on my career and my passion for sports, what makes them so special. But it just really is important for me to allow you to understand my goal in this is to kind of benefit other people. Not to mention, I will always have this podcast. I plan to do this for the rest of my life as long as time allows me to do it. And I hope, again, just like for coaching, hope to impact one person throughout the whole year if possible. I mean, if I only impact one person throughout the whole year, it's still going to be a success. Of course, I want to impact hundreds, thousands of people. But if I impact one person, if I make a change, if someone's inspired by my words throughout this podcast, I will be very proud. And that's just one of my goals. I am going to try to have as many episodes out this year as possible, starting a new job, so going to be kind of crazy with that, but a lot of things to talk about in the sports world. I would love to connect with all of those great playmakers out there. So if you're one of those people that wants to get on this podcast, please contact me, comment below, DM me on Instagram or Twitter. But thank you all so much for the support. It truly means the world to me, and we'll see you guys very soon on another episode of A Playmaker's View.